did you start with the Speedway Solos thing?
Went and watched, I was originally racing dirt track on a 65 and went to watch a Speedway race meet and I thought it looked pretty fun, so I thought I'd give it a go.
When someone first told you about no brakes, is that something that scared you or intrigued you?
It intrigued me. It was interesting to see like what would happen.
In regards to speed overall with bikes and things like that, how does the speed on one of these or the acceleration compare to what you're racing previously?
Crazy, like way faster than what they used to be. Dirt track, you probably on a 65, you probably hit roughly maybe 60 to 80 kilometers down the straight, whereas these things you're 80 through the corner and 100 to 110 down the straight.
Now, for people that don't know, I've heard this said around the pits in my, comings and goings, but I keep hearing that they just constantly pull your arms. So what does it mean by that?
Well, that's basically just the rear chain and the rear wheel getting a lot of drive. That's what's happens. It just wants to drive forward when there's a lot of grip on the track. So that's what pulls your arms out and it's what gets you tired on a spare bike.
Speaking about getting tired, what is your fitness regime?
Fitness is hitting the gym, just usual cardio and then some strengthening just to tone up.
In regards to a race meeting itself, who does most of the work on the bike and why?
Race meeting, me and Dad will spend hours in the shed, leading up to it the week before. But during the day, Dad and my mechanic Craig Jung will do a lot of work on the bike. I just give them tips and they sort of listen to me.
Is it hard to bridge that gap between rider and mechanic as to what is happening for you out on track and what you would like to be changed?
Because they sort of just listen and then they give their side of the story of what they think should happen, and you sometimes get in the middle or they just listen to you to what you want done to the bike.
And how old are you at the moment, Jake?
I'm currently 18 years of age.
And how long have you been riding for?
I've been riding since the age of 10. That was when I started dirt track, so about 8 years, and I started spare maybe 2 years after that, so I've probably been on a spare bike for about 6 years now.
And in your career, I've been fortunate enough to commentate some of the stuff, but you're defending current Queensland Under-21 champion. Have you had any other accolades?
In 2018, we went to the world title in Poland. We got 6th for the under-16 250s. Also got another 21 championship in Victoria, and yeah, that's about it so far.
So you are achieving quite what I would think would be more than on track. It's quite well. You seem to have very well presented gear and everything's where it should be. It's neat and tidy. And how does that all come about?
Oh, that happens days before in the shed, even weeks before. Me and Dad down here making sure everything's perfect for the race. If your bike's not perfect, you're not perfect, To win races, your bike needs to be perfect and you need to be feeling perfect.
describe the feeling, what it is from your side of things when you go out for practice, the bike's absolutely flying, you make minimal changes, the track's doing what you want it to do as well, and you're starting to get race wins and you're feeling very confident and fast. What does that feel like?
It just makes you feel confident and secure, just gives you that sense of security that you've got a chance at winning the meeting or winning races for that meeting. It just helps.
I've noticed a lot of solo riders particularly focus on the gate. For the layman person, the gate is where the starting is for the rider. I notice they focus on what they call gardening, which is checking for ruts and see what's going where. How did you start to understand, or how could you explain what gardening actually is?
Well, basically, the start is 75% of the race. If you get the start, everyone else has got to pass you. So making sure that your rut is, or starting position is as perfect as you want it. So gardening is where you look for the tackiest spot, and if the whole track or your whole gate has got ruts everywhere, you try to fill that in with some loose dirt, pack it in, try and make it nice and firm with a little bit of tackiness so that you get a proper start and maybe you can get there to the first corner.
Seem to be someone that's very focused and very driven on achieving your goals. Is that something that's just a hand-me-down from your parents, or do you do any mental exercises or anything or any visualization?
Nah, I think it's definitely a hand-down sort of thing. It's something I really want to do, so that's what drives me really. I just want to make it, so that's what gives me the drive to go overseas and race here in Australia all over.
So speaking of racing in Australia, what are some of the tracks that you've found very complicated to ride but have also been very rewarding?
Mildura is probably one of the more complex tracks in Australia. It's a tight track, you have to turn compared to some of the Australian tracks where it's quite wide open, but I love Mildura, really good track. Everyone down there does a great job and it always is perfect.
So, out of the tracks you've ridden, which one seems to have caught you out with just how fast you end up going on that track?
Definitely would have to be Rockhampton, definitely one of the fastest speedway tracks in Australia as it's so big and it's so open. You don't realise how quick you're going until you're going past the crowd on the main straight, that's for sure.
And is that something you enjoy more, is the overall speed or the actual technical style tracks?
I like both, it doesn't really faze me whether it's technical, whether it's fast. Technical is fun because it means you actually have to work hard on the bike, where fast is sort of you're just hanging on and trying to go as fast as you can to get those lap times and those positions.
In any form of motorsport, there is a budget and there is a need for people to become partners, as they're called nowadays, but most people know them as sponsors. So who are some of the partners in your career that have helped you along the way and continue to help you now?
It definitely be mum and dad as at the top. They put a lot of hours in travelling and working on bikes and preparing them for the weekend. Another major sponsor would have to be M2I Helmets. They've been with me from day dot, and the helmets are made in Australia and they're a great helmet. Inox Lubricants, another major sponsor on our team. Beetham Motorsport actually introduced us to Inox, which is another one of my sponsors. We've got Bothwell Motors, RTR Pro Aussie, Hyper Race Fuels, which supplies race fuels, Graphic Design by AV, which have designed my covers in my new suit, Shepherd Earth Moving, which helped me out a while ago to get over to the world title, and Hart Race Engines is always providing the quick engines.
And you've listed a few brands there in particular that are well known across the board in motorsports. And I just want to touch on your helmet manufacturer sponsor. They make fantastic helmets, and in such a potentially dangerous sport, that's got to be something very comforting.
Yeah, MTY helmets have only made their products better since I've started with them. Yeah, I can't complain one bit about them. Haven't had one major head injury with an MTY helmet, and yeah, they're a great helmet.
And the other one too is Inox. Inox is a brand that actually works. They really have the right things and they actually do what they say they do. So surely that's got to be something to build your confidence as well.
Yeah, it's great having Inox on the team. You know, they've been around for a while now, so they know what they make and they make good products. And it's good to have a good quality sponsor like Inox on board to help out with that stuff, because it can get cost worthy, and Inox is a great product.
Where do you see yourself in, say, 2 or 3 years?
You know, the main goal is to get over to Europe. That's where I want to be in the next couple of years, racing over there for a team, and if not, in the Under-21 World Championships.
Was it always the goal to go overseas, or did you not really think it would blow up as it has so far in your career?
Well, when I first started, it was sort of just a bit of fun, but as I progressed, I sort of knew where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, so. That's what's got me here today.
What advice would you give to, say, yourself at 10 years old?
Get into it earlier.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for chatting with me today, and we'll lead into the next video.
No worries.
Additional content provided by Action Sports Photography Australia, Judy McKay Photography, Shane Bell Photography, and Colin Statford Photos. Please go check out their social medias and support them.